The 8-month wait for the NBC drama's return has left fans of The Blacklist eager to learn how Raymond Red Reddington's tale turns out. Before the first episode aired this month, the network made the announcement that the show would be ending. The episode opens at a casino in Sydney, Australia. Annika de Beer, Lucy Taylor, who is in charge of the floor, is dealing with a casino official who wants to know why one of the whales coming in for a private game is using a false identity and also blackmailing a wealthy adulterer into spending large sum of money. Just long enough to get the casino official into an elevator, knock him over, and press a high heel onto his neck. De Beer poses as being reprimanded. In the event that he does not agree to be comfortable with her poker game, she threatens him with a car bomb. Red and Cooper are waiting in line at Allie's Snout to Tail because Red is on a street food binge. Lunch consists of plenty of catching up and pan-seared thinking. Red's lack of security. He claims he's trying to keep a lighter footprint, but I say Chuck couldn't keep a pan-seared brain safe in a room full of vegans. Saya Malik. Red is cool with her joining the task force. Agnes's schoolyard bully. Cooper says he and Charling have it in hand. And finally, where in the world is Woojing? Monaco and Lisbon, South Africa's clerk store. Woojing has been seen hanging out near casinos and De Beer, our blacklister known as the Whaler, in all of these places. It's time to find her. Malik, Enya Banerjee, formally joins the squad back at Task Force HQ. Wrestler Diego Klattenhoff welcomes her with warmth from Dem, Hisham Tawfiq, but he struggles to maintain the smile. It's time to infiltrate De Beer's secret game in Australia, so there isn't time to analyze wrestler's most recent grimace. The strategy begins with securing an invitation, in this instance by showcasing one's poker skills at a clandestine game in New York City. Spencer Waters, a music promoter with a 6th-degree connection to Red through Huey Lewis' manager, is the show's presenter. Remember when Clark Middleton Amazing Glenn's homage to him included Lewis? If not, relive the Wellstone Agency incident in all of its bittersweet grandeur by going back in time. Red meets with Malik and Wrestler to inform them that their fictitious player will be E.M. Lyons +1. Red corrects Malik when she incorrectly thinks that she is the arm candy. Amelia Lyons is the high roller. Wrestler doubts her readiness, but Red is aware that Mira Malik's daughter is competent and less obvious than Wrestler thinks. It also doesn't matter if she already knows how to play because Red has a rack of designer dresses in one corner and a poker expert waiting to teach her in the other. Red will obviously not stand by and watch Elizabeth's daughter endure. He observes Agnes and her tormentor engaging in shoving exchanges on a soccer field. I'll be honest, I'm more concerned for the aggressor. Wrestler is sent off with the other arm candies as Malik takes her place at the NYC game. She immediately loses her first hand to a young man wearing a trucker hat, whose snark is verified when he refers to her as a girl. Up until Malik wins at hand with just a pair of fives off the river, Trucker Hat keeps talking in a sexist manner at the table. He is obviously furious, but she argues that his stance allowed her to perfectly decipher his signs. De Beer, who is watching from a camera, is impressed enough to phone and extend an invitation to the big game. Wrestler's frown lasts all the way to Australia, which is an amazing accomplishment given that they were flying in private. When Malik asserts that she is aware of the situation and is not being careless, Wrestler chooses to go way too far and retorts, "Neither was your mother, and look where it got her." His sensitivity to the dangers of the blacklist has increased due to the deaths of Elizabeth and others, but Malik is prepared. She observes 2 Chinese billionaire financiers seated at the same table during the game, which strikes her as odd. Red makes a situation update call to Cooper from his personal jet. Cooper is horrified when he mentions Agnes's abuser by name and orders Red to stop. Red is perplexed and mutters to himself, "Why am I always the evil guy?" When the player returns, a mysterious lurker acts suspiciously enough for Wrestler to take an unobtrusive picture and transmit it to Demi, who recognizes the man as a former member of the Chinese Special Forces. Wrestler has scarcely hung up the phone when De Beer and security personnel enter. He is introduced to Nigel in a hotel room, who claims to be the true boss. While the guard zip ties on our beloved FBI grump, Nigel simply removes his suit jacket in response to Wrestler's attempts to delay. Malik is still engaged in her poker game when De Beers leads her to the elevator, which is also the one Woojing exits. She can't change that though, because the armed escort is transporting her to join Wrestler in Nigel's exquisite torture room. They immediately connected the dots. Woojing, who is playing at the table with the Chinese billionaires for as yet unknown reasons, was being spied on by the Couchman. Wrestler points out that they are FBI MI6 agents, but Nigel stops them and starts repeatedly punching Wrestler in the face. Malik has lovely earrings that unscrew into a small tool she uses to cut through her restraints, which is a blessing. If I've said it once, I've said it 1,000 times, never tie your hostages' wrists in front, always tie them behind their backs. With her hands free, Malik knocks over Nigel's lamp and begins a playful brawl with all the participants. Wrestler acknowledges that it's possible he underestimated the MI6 operative. She concurs. Malik finds a room full of cameras watching the game, which bolsters her claim. Wolf then realizes the Chinese billionaires are purposefully losing the game. When they call headquarters to find out why, Denby is the first to realize that Wu Jing's fortune in China is untouchable due to his exile, making this a very effective method to obtain millions. Red has just arrived at the game, so it's time to inform him. He doesn't even have an alias. He enters a lion's den without hesitation, and he's sporting a waistcoat. A place at the table is exchanged for a bag of diamonds. Wu Jing accepts the dare after being dealt an ace-king offsuit when Red suggests a one-hand showdown. An ace of clubs, a nine of spades, and a three of spades are placed on the board by the player. Red places a $5 million wager without consulting his whole cards, which, while not the best move, does appear really cool. Wu Jing dials, Red rises, and Wu Jing dials once more. They play cards and trade insults. A move is revealed by the dealer. We know Wu Jing now has 3 of those because it's the ace of hearts. He grins and dives right in. Crimson shouts, "Undoubtedly, someone is drowning in that waterway." Red, on the other hand, is holding 2 clubs. The blush prevails. The altercation comes to a stop as the police arrive. Wrestler thanks her for the earlier save and warmly welcomes her to the team before adding, "But I'm still going to lose sleep over you," as Wrestler and Malik watch as different bad guys are apprehended. Why hasn't the show ended yet when everything seems to be resolved? Because Red hasn't stopped interfering with Agnes' middle school play. He is effectively bribing the bully's father's employer at his place of business to move the man, and presumably the entire family, to Florida. De Beer is attempting to flee the situation, but Wu Jing finds her before she can board an aircraft. He murders her and steals the jewels Red used to bribe her. Blacklister number 165, RIP. Red is witnessing a bully-free Agnes play soccer when Cooper calls him to confront him about the interference. Red says he has avoided the situation, but Cooper is aware that this is absurd given that he is also at soccer practice. The 2 guys sit together and talk about how much they both want Agnes to be secure in content. However, Cooper, who has experience raising children, is aware that sometimes children need to suffer a minor injury in order to mature. Red mulls over that suggestion as the credits roll.